Okay, I found number 44, and this is kind of hilarious because it's called the Eight of Cups Moving On Spread. There comes a time in everyone's life when it is time to move away from a pattern, behavior, or a person. These moments are different for each of us, yet we are all well aware of them, whether they creep up on us or they hit us like a lightning bolt. Cast your cards in the direction of the figure who moves upwards when you are actively ready for higher ground. Where are we ready to move on from our shadow selves, from these old fear-based patterns of behavior that have kept us trapped? It's like we're ready to go onwards and upwards. And this is what that looks like. Onwards and upwards. Like we are ascending at a rate of knots. We are evolving past our fear-based thoughts that have kept us in lack. All right, so there's 7 cards here. The first one, what is the situation that I will leave behind? The second one, what supports me? The third one, what stands in my way? The fourth one, what helps me navigate the path? The fifth one, what secret magic works in my favor? Sixth, how do I keep my emotions in check while I move through this transition? And the path, number 7, what can I trust to guide me? All right, so the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups. All right, so I'm going to go to my beautiful Angel Tarot cards. Let's just shuffle until they tell me to stop. Okay, so just connect to unconditional love. Only harmony, health, and happiness. Okay, so that's it. 1 to 8. Okay, I got it. Yep. Okay, all right. Number 1, which is, what is the situation or state I will leave behind? The Ace of Air. Brilliant new ideas or inspiration. Seeing the truth of a situation, a challenging beginning. What will I be leaving behind? A challenging new beginning. So a situation that we manifested for learning hasn't really gone the way we thought. It's been kind of like a whack from the universe. Seemed like a good idea, but now you can kind of see the truth of the situation. So it's time to leave that new beginning behind. You know, you thought that was going to be the beginning of something. You attached maybe an outcome or a story. You created a story in your mind about a situation. If I do this, then I'll get this, then I'll feel this, then I'll be happily ever after. Is it really fair to attach scenarios and stories to future situations? Or is it better, you know, and these situations, I say, we often subconsciously manifest out of fear. We think we should do something. We think we have to do something. We think that's just the way the world is. That's just the way things have to be. We have to sacrifice ourselves, put ourselves in a situation that, you know, really we probably wouldn't have chosen. But that's okay. It's a learning experience. So we're leaving that behind. What supports us, number 2? The King of Water. Beautiful flowing energy, beautiful divine masculine energy. Trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Heartfelt advice, charity work. Allow the beautiful flowing water energy to support you. Actually allow your emotions to support you through the process. So You know, it's a lot of letting go of who you thought you were, how you thought things should be. Go with the flow. Don't have those blinkers on. Open up to what's around you, the opportunities. The best way you can flow through this painful ending, leaving behind something that's not in alignment with you, is allow the beautiful, steady, but fluid energy of the ocean, of this divine king to allow him to carry you through. Allow him to hold you through it and support you. Number 3, what stands in my way? The universe likes to do that sometimes. Oh, the King of Fire. So opposing energies here. Part of you is like, I'm going to go with the flow, it's fine. And the other part of you is like, oh my God, run. I am so angry, I'm going to react. So this says, the King of Fire is motivational, ambitious, and charismatic. He asks you to focus, communicate your vision, and be a leader. Perhaps obtain advice from somebody creative who can give you a different point of view. So while you know you need to leave something behind, you need to move into closer alignment with yourself, and you're going to flow with it and move with it. The King of Fire, which represents part of you and may represent someone else in the situation, they're going to be like, hey, no, what are you doing? And they're going to kind of try and oppose that water flowing energy, because the King of Water, he's like allowing you to flow with the natural flow of the universe. The King of Fire is very focused on what he wants and driving an outcome, but is that in alignment with your best interests? So just be aware as you're moving through, like, you know, stepping into your new beginning and leaving behind anything that's not in alignment with you. You need to flow, but just, you know, often what happens if you start to upgrade yourself and your reality and let go of that fear energy, those around you who are not going to do that are going to maybe try and pull you back into the fire. They're going to try and pull you back into their game, and that's okay. But it's just a matter of standing strong in who you are and remaining focused on where you're going, which is onwards and upwards. So that's number 3. What stands in your way? Number 4, what helps me navigate this path? Oh, the King. The King keeps coming up. The King of Air. This masculine is rising. This masculine is like next level at the moment. I'm really proud of him. So this was what helps me navigate the path. The King of Air. Brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice. Balance those mental and emotional considerations. So the King of Fire, I was just seeing if there was a card. Yes, there's a card stuck behind that. The Ace of Earth. So that is... what secret magic? All right, we'll get to that next. The magic is coming. The King of Air. He wants to balance this fire and water energy, this emotion, this kind of opposing energies. He is asking you to be diplomatic, to be steady, to be balanced. Draw on his energy, draw on that energy within yourself, and onwards and upwards. Like, he's like, I'm leading the pack and I know where I'm going. So to navigate this path where you're kind of paving the way, like, and those people that are not ready to go on that path with you, which, like, no judgment, everybody is where they are, but, you know, if they try and pull you back into the fire, you just need to be, you know, in your balanced diplomatic energy. 3 kings. This masculine is rising. What secret magic works in my favor? The Ace of Air. And in the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts. So this is representing like the answer to your prayers, because we've had some abundance blocks holding us back potentially in situations, or worried about what are we going to do, we don't have a plan. This is the plan. So the King of Air, in his diplomatic and planned and systematic way, is paving that path and setting up that foundation for success, because he's kind of like leveraged this like, he's like, we got to leave this behind. The king is like, we're leaving this behind. That kind of painful new beginning that you thought was going to be your happy ending, it's not. He's like moved through the emotions and the water. That fire has kind of tried to stop him, but metal kind of comes through the fire as gold, I think, in alchemy. That might not be right, but you get my point. And now he's like manifested this abundance. So it's like, you don't need to worry about anything. It's all coming together. Like there's magic in your path ahead. Number 6, how do I keep my emotions in check? This card keeps coming up. The 5 of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation and review everyone's motives. Okay, so this beginning that you thought was going to be like, the best thing ever, and it hasn't been. You've used it as much as you can for your evolution and your like rising and your learning, but at the end of the day, you perhaps made this choice out of fear in the first place, because you thought, I should do this, and this is the way it is, and you kind of were like a triangle trying to fit into a square. And you really just kind of have to admit that while your emotions and the fire might try and pull you back into the situation, that you're going onwards and upwards, and you just need to learn what you can from the situation and make your peace with it and let it go. And review everyone's motives. So not everyone is going to be like rising or healing themselves or ready to step into their power. Like some people are still very much like wanting to be consumed by their ego and their thinking mind, and like that is completely fine, because everyone is like perfect as they are, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean you need to stay there. So this is about going, it is what it is. I made this choice, perhaps out of fear and not out of unconditional love for myself, and I forgive myself for that. And I realize that there's some energies there that I can't change, I can't deal, I can't save people, I can only save myself, and I'm going onwards and upwards, and I'm going to rise. And this king is rising, the king energy within you, the king energy, that divine masculine energy. And some people, places, situations are still stuck in their shadow masculine energy, but they still feel like you need to suffer to succeed, and you need to strive, and it's all about push, 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 and like this is just not sustainable for those of us who have gone on this journey. And we need to love ourselves enough to realize when the current's against you, and you just got to remove yourself. So in order to keep your emotions in check, you just need to remember it's not all you. Like, you've healed yourself as much as you can, and sometimes your vibration just expands beyond a place, a situation, and you need to love yourself enough to allow yourself to continue to move upwards. And that some people may be left behind, if there's not really a behind, they're just like, that doesn't even really matter. It's just that their vibration is not a match for you, and you are needed to continue on your path. On your upward path, the king continues to rise. The divine masculine continues to rise. And lastly, what can I trust to guide me on the path? The 8 of Water. A desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. come back to the flow, come back to the water. You know, sometimes you got to trust these emotions. Keep them in check, be diplomatic, don't react. But, you know, if it keeps being there, you need to change something. So it's time to move on. It's time for something more. It's time for the next adventure. So the Eight of Water, we just need to flow. The king's got to flow. He's got to come back to his you've got to come back to your emotion, your feminine. Part of the king and the masculine rising is that he's got to honor his feminine. He's got to honor his emotions. He's actually got to call it when he needs to call it and say, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to resist the flow anymore. There is something more meaningful out there for me. But to do that, he needs to honor that side of him, that feminine side that allows him, you know, to sit with his emotion and to feel it. This will keep you on the path to rising. So, just to finish off, I'm going to pull a couple of my Gaia cards that my beautiful mum gave me, just to close out this reading. And like, all right, let's see. Is that it? Keep going. Ah, this is it. Okay, so what do we got? These ones. Oh, there's a few. Oh, liberation. So, what is rising going to give us? Liberation. Breaking free from a negative attachment. Peace. Dissolving unwanted or disturbing thoughts. Yep, because that helps when we're rising. Oh. Sacred heart, passion, love, and spiritual communion. And reflection. Illusion. Self-examination. But I think really this rising process is going to bring just more love, more peace, and it's liberation. Like, that is what love is. Love is freedom. Freedom from anything that is not authentic to who you are. You know, you don't need to be trapped. You don't need to be in a situation or around people that are not like not inspiring you to be your best. But you've got to dissolve those thoughts within you first. Like that peace. That's why it's so important to come back to who you are. Like to come back to that centered place within you. That like allow yourself to just kind of retreat into that sanctuary. You know, be that feminine, like not like that external striving, like come back and dissolve first those thoughts, those stories that you have in your mind. And those narratives, just be really careful of those narratives because they really take away your peace. And sometimes if we get caught up in those narratives, that's kind of how we got stuck in this situation in the first place, because we thought we had to do something. We thought we had to be something. You don't need to do or be anything. You just need to be. And sometimes if you're in a situation you don't like, the best thing you can do is just be and like liberate yourself from those thoughts. Let that dissolve and let that love come through, and then just like watch in amazement as your physical reality changes. And I know that's really hard if that's never happened to you before, but can I encourage you just to try it once, and then you're just going to get that little glimpse of how quickly things can manifest and change, especially as you're going through this rising journey. And, you know, sacred love, passion, spiritual communion will come as a result of all of this self-reflection and all of this inner work. So just know you got to trust the process, and just, I think we should just have more fun while we do it, because it doesn't really need to be that bad. And so that's it. I love doing this. I don't know how I'm going to post it to YouTube, but I will find a way. And keep rising. Bye.